Hello and welcome back to KraftsbyKatelyn. Today's video is so fun. I'm so excited with how cute this DIY turned out, and it's perfect to hang in your farmhouse kitchen, or even if you don't have farmhouse, this could definitely go with any type of decor, and you can definitely customize it by changing the colors up or the background. So just keep that in mind whenever you are watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would absolutely love it if you would give me a big thumbs up, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like DIYing and crafting as much as I do. So I'm so excited, I don't want to wait any longer, so let's jump into it. To begin this project, I'm starting with a couple of these Easter signs that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I originally had Easter plans for these, but I just ran out of time and I didn't want them to go to waste. I will be using that for the main backing piece, and then I picked up several of these little flower wind chimes with a little bell on them from Dollar Tree. I originally picked up 5 of them, but I will be only using 3 on this project. I also found one of these little paint scrapers at Dollar Tree, which would work perfect for removing these little 3D pieces. These were glued on there really well, so whenever I did remove them, they did damage the actual board, so I do end up flipping them over and just using the smooth side on the back. The bunnies come off perfect in one piece, so I definitely will be reusing those in a different decor. I did want to show you on my sandpaper. I get asked a lot about those little square sandpapers that I use, and I just buy these little sanding packs from Walmart, and they are over there by the power tools, and they come in these nice little pre-cut squares, and they're perfect for small projects like this. So I originally thought that I would be using the front of this sign, so I did try to get all the glitter off. I just like using the front of the signs just so the back is plain. It just bothers me knowing that it has an ugly side on the back, but this is just personal preference, so you definitely can just use the back on any project. But I just went ahead and decided that the front was just in too rough of shape to use that as the front, so I am going to flip these over and just use the side. So to connect these two signs together, I'm going to be using some of these giant craft sticks from Walmart. I love these. They're just a couple dollars for a pack, and it comes with a lot that you can use on several projects. I did make the mistake here of accidentally gluing it on the side that I was going to use. I just wasn't thinking, since I originally wanted to use the front. So I did end up using my scraper again and having to try to get rid of all of the hot glue. Okay, so after I got it glued the correct way, I'm using some of my Waverly white chalk paint, and I'm just going to give this a nice thick base coat. And whenever I'm saying thick base coat, I just mean I'm giving it a couple coats of paint, so I do get a lot of coverage. I wanted this to have a nice white pretty faux wood background. I couldn't find my ruler at the time, so I'm just using this popsicle stick to get some straight lines. But every time that one of those little boards indents, I'm just going to make a line so I can paint over this. But I love painting these boards like this. It definitely makes it look like a pallet sign. And it's so much easier than going outside and tearing a pallet apart and putting the pallets together. So I do not mind that my home decor is made out of little cheaper pieces like this. I truly enjoy painting, and this is a lot easier. You definitely could go make any of this that you wanted out of real wood just by using some pallet wood. I get a ton of questions about which paintbrushes that I use, and I have some larger ones than these, but I picked up this pack of small paintbrushes off of Amazon, and you get 5 of these 10 packs of paintbrushes that are a variety of sizes, and they work really great, and they're only about 10 bucks. I will link those down below if you do want to go check those out. So using my gray Waverly chalk paint in the elephant color, I'm taking one of the smaller paintbrushes and I'm just going over the lines, and these do not have to be perfect. I think it looks so much more realistic whenever you just quickly go over those. Next, to give it a distressed look, I am just going to be dry brushing by taking some of the elephant color gray paint on my brush, and I'm using a larger brush. I just picked these up at Walmart, and I'm going to try to use a scrap piece of paper and just try to get the excess paint off, and then I'm just going to lightly go over the white paint, paying special attention to the edges so they do darken up a bit, and this gives it a lot of definition and makes it look like real weathered wood. You can see what a huge difference that it makes whenever you do dry brush over this. I love the effect that it gives. So after I got the backing done, I wanted to redo these wind chimes. So the first thing I'm doing is taking a pair of my little needle nose pliers. I will link these down below as well. I get a lot of questions whenever I use these small little tools, but I am just going to be removing the hanger as well as the little bell that hangs from below. This does leave a couple little holes in some of the petals, but I didn't mind these at all. You could try to fill these in with some hot glue or something if they did bother you. When I wanted to redo these, I wasn't 100% sure what color I was going to go with, so I just thought that I would paint them a neutral color like gray. I'm using the elephant color chalk paint again, and then I'm just completely covering this to get rid of that metallic blue color. Whenever I purchased these, they were completely flat, so I did bend up the petals just to make them look a little bit more 3D before I painted them, and I love how this makes them pop off of the sign a lot more. I ended up using 3 of these, and after I got them completely covered with the elephant color, I kind of dry brushed over them to really define all the lines and the petal edges on there, and I think this makes it look so pretty and just makes the flowers show up a lot better in all those little grooves that were in there. For the bottom of this sign, I needed some sort of a jar. If you couldn't find this sign, you could just paint it, or maybe just Google a mason jar and print something off that you could trace or paint over or Mod Podge on. I actually found this little sign at Dollar Tree, and I thought it would be perfect. I thought this was such a cute little jar. The glass was already shattered in it whenever I purchased it. It was the only one that they had left, so I just went ahead and grabbed it. I wasn't going to be using the glass anyways, so I thought that I wouldn't let it go to waste. And I'm just going to be cutting out the jar. I tried to trim off the top flowers without messing up the shape of the jar as best as I could. And then I'm going to lay it out on the sign just to kind of see how I was going to piece everything together. After I had it all laid out, I didn't like how everything was gray, and I felt like the flowers needed some more color, so I'm using this Cascade color in the folk art paint, and I'm just going to kind of dry brush, but I did add quite a bit of paint into it, but a lot of this blue paint over the flowers, and I'm so happy I did this because I think that it really brightened it up and gave it a lot more color, although it does still have like a subtle tone to it, so it does go along with some neutral farmhouse decor. And then my flowers needed some stems to go into this jar, and I really wasn't comfortable with painting them. You definitely could, but I just kind of wanted them to stick off of the sign like the flowers do. So I'm using some of my leftover artificial flowers from Dollar Tree, and I'm just taking the flowers off of them and then using the stem as my flower stem, and I just trimmed them down to look like they were on the top of the jar and then hid the tops behind the flowers. And then I am taking some of my burlap ribbon and I'm going to cut out some little leaf shapes just to tuck under the flowers. I think this gives it a lot more texture and some warmth color of the burlap. To attach the jar to the sign, I wanted it to lay flat, so I'm using some of my Mod Podge in the satin finish, and I'm just applying this in a thick coat to the back. I press it on my sign, and then I just put a couple coats over the jar to kind of seal it in place. I didn't want to hot glue the bottoms of the stems down because I didn't want big hot glue spots above the jar showing. To attach these, I just hot glued them at the top, and I thought that they would hang in place, and they did really well so far. So I'm just going to leave them like that, and then I hot glued the big metal flowers over the top of the stem. Then I just hot glued the burlap leaves under the flowers, and I love how this makes it look. I didn't add any into the center flower, and then I'm just reattaching a jute string to make it a hanger. After it was completely put together, I just decided last minute that I wanted to add a little bit extra highlight, so I'm using some of my white chalk paint. I'm outlining the very edges of this, and it made the flowers pop off just a little bit more, and I think it turned out really good. So here it is, all put together and complete. I absolutely love how it turned out. I think it's a really beautiful piece. I would love to hear your opinions down below. What's something that you would have done different or you would have kept the same? I love hearing from you all. So thank you so much for checking out today's video. I worked really hard to get this just right, and I was so excited with how it turned out. So if you enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because I have some more super cute DIYs coming your way and you don't want to miss them. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.